attack by school bullies sent 15-year-old Hannah Combs to the hospital with first-degree chemical burns. Incidents like these are why 160,000 kids skip school every day. But for one young student named Aija Mayrock, bullies followed her way beyond the classroom. Take a look.
I was like any other kid. I was 8 years old, and there was no reason that I was bullied. We all have imperfections. There was no reason why I went through what I went through. It started where I was just told that I was ugly or fat or disgusting. And then it escalated where I would come to school at 8 years old and kids would tell me to kill myself. I had a lisp, and my peers and my teachers would mimic the way I spoke. So they would say, "What's that, Aija? What do you have to say?" So I stopped speaking and I stopped participating, and my grades suffered because of it. I would be pushed into lockers or shoved when playing sports. I was afraid to walk down the hallways, but I was more afraid to go to school because, in a way, the physical, being pushed into lockers wasn't what scared me. It was the fact that I was hated by a lot of my classmates. Then I would get cyberbullied when I got home. It never ended. I felt like I was the most hated person in the world. I felt like I was alone and that no one would ever understand what I was going through. I started to believe what my bullies told me. I started to believe that I was this disgusting creature and that I didn't have a purpose and that I didn't deserve to live. I believed that.
The View joins our parent company Disney in supporting Bullying Prevention Month, and joining us now is one of ABC's bullying ambassadors, Aija Mayrock. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the table.
Thank you.
One, I just want to say I love that you went to therapy at 15. I am an advocate for everybody going to therapy, and I think that's why you can sit here at this table right now and have this conversation with us. Two questions. One, why do you think you were targeted? And two, are you still on social media?
Yes, okay. Great question. So I think that I was targeted because I had a lisp. I was different. I was really creative. I loved to tell stories, and I was a chubby, regular 8-year-old kid. But I think when my bullies noticed that I wasn't going to fight back and that I was kind of accepting in a way of what was happening, then the mob mentality began, and everyone started to bully me for things that really I didn't even deserve to be bullied for. But I am back on social media, and I think that it's just important to know how to be on social media in a healthy, safe way, and that we can all be on social media, but it's about protecting ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like your confidence level was down when you were younger and you couldn't fight back? What did your parents tell you?
My confidence level was down because I was 8 years old when this started to happen, and so
Did you tell your parents?
I didn't tell my parents.
Mm-hmm.
See, I actually, my daughter's 8,
yes.
And this touches a little close to home. I'm actually talking with her teacher right now. She was crying last night and said, "Mommy, two girls, are picking on me. They're calling me mean and bossy. She was crying about it. That's not her." And we had a discussion. I know bullies prey on weakness. I've talked to her teacher trying to figure out, how do we handle this? Because I don't want her to be weak. I want her to stand up and punch this girl in the face, but I know that's not how I handle it.
Right.
How do I handle it? She's only 8 and she's wrecked at home, and that's not her personality.
What I say in my book to every kid being bullied is that talking to your parents is the most important thing. If you can have that safe bond with your daughter and communicate all the time, she will feel comfortable to tell you about what she is going through. You will be her safe haven. And then you will stand by her and be her advocate in school and create a much easier journey for her.
But does she confront those bullies? What do I tell her to say to that girl? Do I wait for her to pick on her again? Or do I say, go up to her face, get in her face, and tell her to back off, or she's got to deal with your daddy?
I think it's important.
Not you.
Exactly.
Deal with the daddy.
Deal with the daddy, exactly.
I think it's really important for every single kid to trust their gut, because in us, we know if it's the right time to confront our bullies or if it's the best time to tell our teacher. Sometimes it's not, the safest situation to go up to your bully.
I was bullied as a child, and this one girl was haunting and taunting me, and one of the boys would encourage her. And one day I had just had it, and I just took her fingers and I bent them so far back she was on her knees begging me to stop. She never did it again.
See? They prey on weakness. They prey on weakness.
I'm curious because
She knows who she is.
in this journey that you've been on, what have you learned about the bullies?
Great question.
Thank you.
I've learned that everyone has their struggles. Everyone has their wounds that don't always fade away. And bullies bully for a reason. And I don't feel anything except compassion for them, because I know that they are going through something probably just as challenging as what I went through.
Do you think they're bullied at home by their parents?
Very possible. And I think that's where the problem is. But there is a way to kind of intercept this cycle, you know, with parents being involved in this mix, with teachers creating a zero tolerance policy in schools from a young age. Bullying does not need to continue, and these bullies can get the help and stop, you know.
Let's talk about this book. It's called The Survival Guide to Bullying. First of all, thank you for writing a book at your age.
Thank you. Work.
Please tell us about it and who should buy it.
Yes.
Parents and children?
Yes. So I wrote this book because when I was 16, there was a boy that committed suicide. And I decided that if I sat back and did nothing, then I was just as bad as the people that bullied me.
Very true.
So I wrote this book for every single kid out there to show you that it's not about what knocked you down, but it's about what makes you stand up. So in this book, I have everything from how to deal with your fears to how to talk to your parents or teachers and have that conversation to cyberbullying and how to tackle it. And it's for kids, but it's also for parents to be able to peek into their kids' lives and understand what's going on. And even for teachers to know how to handle bullying in the classroom.
Thank you so much for writing that. I'm excited to get that for myself and for my kids. GLSEN is one of Disney ABC's vital partners in Bullying Prevention Month. Shannon Lynch, who works with this closely, is in our audience today. Can you tell us what you do?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for sharing your powerful story. I can't wait to read your book. As a social worker and an educator in public high school, I turned to GLSEN for resources. So GLSEN, they have resources for educators from grades K through 12 to really help ensure safety, which is a big part of my job. So, for example, 9 years ago, a student came to me and said, "Miss, we really need a gay-straight alliance in our school." And I said, "Okay, let's figure this out." So I went to GLSEN, I went to their website. They have step-by-step how to create a GSA, how to create safe space within the school. I've done trainings with them.
It's funny, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I've worked with GLSEN. I think it's a wonderful organization, and I'm sure you can find out all the information on our website. We'll put it up because this month is so important, and bullying in general and learning how to deal with it. Our thanks to Aija Mayrock. Members of the audience are getting a copy of the book, The Survival Guide to Bullying. For more information, like I said, go on ABC's Anti-Bullying Initiative. To go to that, www.abc.com, #BeInspired. We'll be right back.